So yes, we're on the floor again. The weekend I filmed all the past few videos. I messed up my foot on that weekend, so yeah, we're just chilling on the floor. I have a dog trying to get my attention too every time I sit on the floor. Say hello. We still have to sort you, I think, into your Hogwarts house, don't we? Okay, so yeah, let's talk about the books that I want to read in the month of November. Also, my friend Jennifer got me the greatest, one of my favorite most mugs of all time. I have another one that says, what's the don't be a twat waffle. That's another solid one from my friend Muriel. Okay, yeah, so I think I don't have a ton of stuff for work, meaning this month I don't have overtime likely to do, and we do have a long weekend for Remembrance Day and probably something else. I feel like we always normally have extra stuff that we do in November once all of chaos has kind of settled down. I feel like I can actually do this for I can definitely do this, and then I have a couple books that I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of keeping to the side of, I think that I may, if I find time, want to read it. One of them being Know My Name by Chanel Miller. I was going to read it on the weekend, then I had a mental breakdown in October. So that was just not going to happen that weekend. And I just have a couple other books that I was like, it may be that it's in the back of my mind that if I have free time in the month of November, that I will probably pick those up. So first off, this just by random fluke showed up in one of my recommendeds on Novelists through my library. The Scandalous Sisterhood of Prick Willow Place by Julie Berry. So I have one of Julie Berry's books, The Passion of Dulce. I haven't read it. I really do need to get on that. And I want to read The Lovely War. I'm on hold through the library for that right now, waiting for it. And this was, I guess she's had a middle grade in the past, which I did not know. And then my coworker's like, oh yeah, no, I remember. It's like a funny middle grade. And I was like, what? And I hadn't heard of it and I hadn't read it. There's a group of students at a school, and their headmistress, and her surly brother were inconveniently poisoned during Sunday dinner, and now the school's going to be closed and the girl's going to be sent home, so they've decided to cover up the murder so that doesn't happen. Which sounds like it could be potentially amazing, and then even just the illustration on the cover, I love the cover. Also, if David Sedaris and Agatha Christie has a child, it would have been Julie Berry, the author, and it's just a lot of incredibly funny, hilarious, and I'm someone who I don't know that there's much that you can't make fun of. Some things are easier to make fun of than others, but having this kind of Weekend at Bernie's kind of concept, I'm always interested to see how that's going to play out, especially in middle grade. It's just, I'm very interested and curious and excited about this one, and it's probably going to be one of the first books I read in the month. Dog hair on the floor. I just swept last night. How do you shed so much? I'm also definitely going to be picking up Supernova by Marissa Meyer. My copy is on its way. I'm so excited. My pre-order physical copy, and I'm first in line for the audiobook in my library, which I pre-ordered it, so I knew that we were gonna so then I switched over, and it's as a patron was place hold, and I was number one in pre-order line. And then I looked now, and there's 15 people in line behind me. I YA, people read it in my geographic area, but not 15 people holds for the third book in a trilogy. That's not The Hunger Games. I'm kind of shook. So I'm I should probably read that right away to pass it on. So I'm also so freaking excited to pick up Aurora Rising by J. Kristoff and Amy Kaufman. I love Illuminae. I don't love this cover, and I'm kind of actually disappointed with maybe it's just because Illuminae is where's Illuminae? The hardcovers of this series are freaking amazing. This, they put so much time and effort into this design, and they did not have any idea how big it was going to grow up to be. Whereas, okay, go back. They had to have known Aurora Rising was going to be way bigger of a debut sale than Illuminae. So then I'm this is just meh of a cover. And there's no kind of special under dust jacket or whatever, so that was a little disappointing. So I got it through the library, and it's going to be the TBR and Beyond group read for the month, one of the two, and I think just two, or at least one of them anyways. So I'm really excited to read this actually, because everyone seems to be loving it. They released the sequel title, Aurora Burning, I think it is, and hopefully I love it. I'm going to have a hard time differentiating it and comparing it from Illuminae, so hopefully it can stand up to that. I'm also picking up The Grand Dark by Richard Kadri. This is another one that kind of keeps just like, I see the cover at work in a couple different places, and then I saw it when I was like wandering around on readers advisory websites and book recommendation places and whatever. So I was like, no, let's do this. I'm gonna give it a go. And like my library had it in stock, so I like just like, well, not my library, the town next to my city library, but yeah. So I'm really curious. I know it's a sci-fi. I think it's an adult, from the best-selling author of Sam and Slim series. That's why I know the name. A lush and dark standalone fantasy built on the insurgent tradition of China Mielville and M. John Harris, a subversive tale that immerses us in a world where the extremes of bleakness and beauty exist together in dangerous harmony in a city on the edge of civility and chaos. It's like after a great war, and I always find post-war to be honestly kind of more interesting than like war itself, because we know what happens in war for the most part. You know, we change the technologies and like equipments and stuff that we use it, but like the post-war, it's always the how the heck, and it always has these massive, we're seeing the trickle and like ripple effects of all of the World War stuff, and that was a trickle effect off of other stuff. Like all of this stuff is built off of stuff we did. My friend Zoe actually messaged me on Instagram the other day, or probably over a month ago now, being like, hey, I read this book and like I'm looking for something like kind of similar. Do you have any suggestions? Because we worked together where I work now a couple of years ago when she was a summer intern, and then I was like, I've literally never heard of this book. And then I read the summary and I was like, this sounds kind of interesting actually. And then my friend's like, there's a female romance in it too. It's kind of sexy time a little bit too. And I was like, I'll read it. So, my hold for The Confessions of Franny Langton by Sarah Collins came in. It's also a Jamaican-owned voices, which is I don't know that I've read. I feel like a lot of the times we like kind of overarch of like just Black-owned voices, which is good, or African-American-owned voices. But then when you start specifying countries, especially countries that were colonized, all of them had very different experiences. No one knows the worst thing you're capable of until you're doing it. All of London is abuzz with the scandalous case of Franny Langdon, who is accused of brutally double murdering her employer's renowned scientist George Benham and his eccentric French wife Marguerite. Crowds packed the courtroom, eagerly following every twist with the newspaper print lurid theories about the killings and the mysterious woman being held in the Old Bailey. The testimonies against Franny are damning. She is a seductress, a witch, a master manipulator, a whore. Franny claims that she cannot recall what happened that fateful evening and how she came to be covered in the victim's blood, even if remembering could save her life. But as she does to tell a story of her childhood on a Jamaican plantation, her apprenticeship under a debauched scientist who stretched all bounds of ethics, and the events that brought her to the Benham's London home and into a passionate and forbidden romance. I'm assuming it's with the scientist's wife. So I am really curious if we're going to look at plantation life in Jamaica specifically. That's not something I've really ever read a fictional book on. I did a little bit of history, like nonfiction, like academic-y reading on that sort of stuff. So this is just really interesting to me. I know it doesn't have great reviews on Goodreads, but then everyone I talk to is like, no, it's actually a really good book. So hopefully I like it. On this path of mine to try and catch up on these like series, because I've had a lot of series finish in this year or late last year, I have been collecting books now. So I now have all of the Charlotte Holmes quartet, and I plan on reading them. So I have read A Study in Charlotte and The Last of August, but I have not read The Case for Jamie. I was waiting to get my hands on A Question of Holmes, and then I finally did, and 3 of these were actually off of Book Outlet, I think, and they're like all in absolutely perfect condition. I love it. They look so pretty on the shelves together. And I read Brittany Cavallaro's Hello Girls while like being like, okay, waiting till I had them all and was like ready. Now I have the time to devote a month to reading all 4 books. And I think just because of the mystery that goes in this is one that I probably will binge all 4 books together. Like it'll be a week where it's just Charlotte Holmes books. So hopefully I enjoy it. I really liked A Study in Charlotte. The Last of August was another really good book. It's darker than I ever anticipated it when I first picked up the series. But I really love Brittany Cavallaro's writing, and I know she has a new book coming out in 2020. So I'm excited for that. And like I said, I enjoyed Hello Girls actually too. So she's an author that I'm going to continue following, and she tends to write things set in contemporary worlds, but that doesn't seem to deter from my enjoyment of them. So yeah. I'm all caught up on the Thousandth Floor series by Catherine McGee, so I am going to be picking up American Royals by her, which is the start of her new series. I think it's been on New York Times bestseller since it came out, actually. I'm also very excited to pick up Kingdom of Souls by Rena Barron. I feel like the hype for this has kind of died down since it came out. For the general part, most of the people that I'm seeing are reading it that have read it, are liking it for the most part, between a 3 and a 4 star. I just see a lot of people who are like, it's not a lot of dialogue, it's kind of like thick text, more information given rather than shown, which, as long as the information is given and in some capacity, I'm normally pretty okay with that. And I'm just excited to see if this gets adapted. I also freaking just love this cover. Just love this cover so much. And I mean, that wouldn't be the first time that like the booktube community like missed out on a good book. I saw I don't even remember who it was. I saw someone, I don't even know if it was, what platform it was. Maybe it was on Twitter or on like a YouTube community tab. But someone was like, I'm doing a video about a book that the booktube community decided to bury despite the fact that it deals with colonialism, The Gilded Wolves. And I was like, what? What's happening? Did I miss something? Did I miss something? I mean, Roshni was in the group though. So I mean, like, everyone I know read it for the most part. And everyone I know seemed to genuinely enjoy it, especially the representation in it. So I was like, what am I missing? I don't understand. But yeah, but I don't know how that connects to the Kingdom of Souls. But I'm reading Kingdom of Souls this month too. I was hoping to fit this into October, but I really just didn't have the time. And I mean, like, I know everyone all of a sudden, as soon as like November 1st hits, we're like, it's Christmas season, because at least in Canada, our Thanksgiving is before Halloween. So we're all just like, okay, once Halloween's done, it's Christmas season. Like, Walmart has their skids out in the aisles of all their Christmas stuff already. They're ready to just throw up Christmas tinsel all over the store. Like, we're ready for it. But my brain is still like a couple days after Halloween. I'm still thinking about Halloween. So I am going to be reading The Bone Charmer by Brianna Shields. They released the cover for the sequel. I love this series covers so much. So much. Like, just so much. The Underdust jacket too has that red raspberry color that like just does things to me. So I am so freaking excited to read this. The few people that I know who have read it have said like they really, really enjoyed it. On the day of Saskia's kenning, a special bone reading that determines the apprenticeship of all 17-year-olds, her worst fear comes true. She receives assignment to train as a bone charmer, a seer, like her mother. Saskia knows her mother saw multiple paths for her, yet chose the one she knew Saskia wouldn't want. Their argument leads to a fracture in one of the bones, with the devastating result of splitting Saskia's future. Now she will live her 2 potential paths simultaneously, one where she's forced to confront her magic, and one where she tries to run from it. When both paths become entangled in a plot of a rogue charmer, Saskia learns no future is safe, and some choices have unimaginable consequences. Only one future can survive, and her life is in danger in both of them. It sounds so good. And the cover of the sequel, and this cover too, is just amazing. I'm so excited to read this. I think this will be one that if I don't have enough time this month, then I would bring it up like in another month's TBR, because I've had this book for so long that I'm like, I should probably try and read it, but I'm also like, what is the harm of putting it off one more month at this point, right? But Girl in the Blue Coat by Monica Hess, I just randomly picked this up by fluke off of Book Outlet, I think. I want to say so, because I literally had never seen this in a bookstore, but there's no marker on it. But it's set during World War II. Find her before the Nazis do. And I think it's because when I look at this cover, it makes me think of Schindler's List. Obviously it's not, but the whole like gray, and then all of a sudden this pop of color jacket, with Schindler's List being the only color in like that whole movie is the red jacket of the girl. And everyone that I know that has read it, it came out a little while ago, has really, really enjoyed it. And I think I just haven't read like an adult historical fiction for a little while. I've been getting a little bit more into those in the past couple months, just this year alone, but yeah, hopefully I enjoy it. I am also going to pick up Fireborn. I am so excited about this book. It was originally like pitched as Plato. I think it was Plato meets like Hermione Granger with dragons, and I was like, hold on. There's a lot in there that I would love. So, I'm waiting for my library hold to come in. They didn't have any copies of it at my local bookstore, unfortunately. So, I want to see what it looks like in person. And hopefully I love it. The reviews that people are giving it are really, really good. And hopefully I really enjoy it. I just have really high hopes for this one. I am also hoping this month to get to The Water Dancer by Ta-Nehisi Coates. This was Oprah's book club pick. I'm hearing like nothing but absolute praise. It's on New York Times bestseller now. I think it actually was what knocked Crawdad off. Well, not off, just out of #1 spot. I magical realism incorporating with like slavery and family lineage sounds like that's something that'd be really interesting and really impactful, and that's really the general consensus I am getting from reviews as well. So I'm really excited to read a book from an African American owned voices author, and I think this is actually the first time I've read an Opal pick. I've never followed like any of those celebrity book clubs. So yeah, hopefully I enjoy it, and hopefully I can, like, it's not too large. I think that was my thing when I look at big like books that are really impactful and like deal with difficult subjects. Like my brain automatically is going to like the Book of Negroes. That book is ginormous, even for like adult print standards. Like that thing is like mind-bogglingly large. That I'm like, if we're gonna do that much, it's just gonna be a lot of like historical things that I know that I don't know, and some of it I do know, and like it's just gonna make me really angry. I don't know that I can do that sort of book, or I have to be in a very specific mood. So having something that's maybe a little bit smaller and a bit more digestible, or having something smaller on the topic makes it a bit more digestible, I think, for people like me who, even reading something like Thug, that book is important to read, but I get so angry, like just so freaking angry in that book. Yeah, so hopefully I enjoy it. I am hoping to get to Stronger Than a Bronze Dragon by Mary Fan as well. This book kind of like slid under the radar, but like I've seen the book in person. I saw a finished copy. Oh, I think one of our libraries ordered it, so I saw it when it came through for cataloging. It looks really pretty, and I had an arc of this. I picked this up at the conference in like January. And I'm debating going to that conference again next year, and I'm like looking through and it just made me think of this, and I was like, I haven't read it yet. So I'm hoping I like it. Liang Anli wants a life of glory and revenge as a warrior who protects her village from the shadow spirits. She's never been beyond the borders of her town. All of that changes the day the viceroy and his fleet of mechanical dragons arrive. Like mechanical dragons and like female village protector just sounds really interesting. I'm hoping to also get to There Will Come a Darkness by Katie Rose Poole. I know for the most part people are like about this book, but I mean I've heard that about books that I'm like, what is wrong with you all? This book is amazing. And I know some people were saying like they struggled with the different POVs, that they maybe weren't distinct enough or whatever, so for that reason I am going to follow along with an audiobook, so hopefully they've got multiple narrators on that, and hopefully I enjoy it because the book itself is really beautiful. The cover design with the map and then the under dust jacket, it's really gorgeous. So hopefully the book can kind of follow through on that as well. I think it's supposed to be a trilogy too. So, and I'm like, I remember hearing like that they bought it for like a pretty penny, the publisher. So like, I'm hoping it's good and that it sells well. I'm pretty sure I tried to do this in January, so it seems like really responsible of me to get to it in November. I'm really gonna try and reread Even the Darkest Stars, reread that, and then get to All the Wandering Light. I still have not read that book. I pre-ordered it. It came out last December. I was like, I want to reread Even the Darkest Stars because I don't feel like it's fresh enough in my mind to read the sequel, and that was like last December, right? And then like, I don't know, life just happened, and then I put them in the stack that I was like, okay, if you find time in your TBR months, you know, pull off this stack. These are books that you said you were going to read and just never ended up reading in the TBR. And then I moved the book stack to a weird place and just found it the other day and was like, oh my god, I forgot all about these books. So we're going to start off trying to tackle those books with Even the Darkest Stars and All the Wandering Lights. And I think it's actually pretty good timing. I just noticed the other day, I think it was like 2 days actually after I found the pile of books, I opened my Instagram, Heather Fawcett was there, and she showed a picture of Even the Darkest Stars, like an audiobook, and I was like, they have an audiobook for the series now? So I looked, and they do. So I was like, oh, awesome. I know I loved Even the Darkest Stars reading it, like, without an audiobook the first time. I want to listen along with the narration, and then if I like the narration, I can listen along, hopefully, to All the Wandering Lights as well, and hopefully finally get this this duology done, and then hopefully I can get onto her middle grade book, Ember and the Dragons, or something like that, which came out, like, a month or two ago. It has a cute cover, and, yeah, I freaking loved Even the Darkest Stars so much. And lastly, Yes, lastly. I'm also dealing with this series this month, hopefully. So I have read The Queen of Blood and The Reluctant Queen. I have not read The Queen of Sorrow or The Deepest Blue. The Deepest Blue was a gift, I think last Christmas actually, from my friend Melanie, or was it for my birthday? One or the other. It was either December or May when I got it. Anyways, I really enjoyed The Reluctant Queen the most, I think, of all the series so far. The Queen of the Blood was an okay book for me, but the sequel was way better for me. So hopefully Queen of Sorrows, or The Queen of Sorrow, is even better than that somehow. And then she has an adult fantasy standalone, I think. It's an adult fantasy, or it's a YA fantasy coming out, like a desert race or something like that in 2020, which looks kind of cool too. So hopefully I can read this, and then I'll, like, be okay, like, purchasing and following along with her new stuff. But yeah, we have queens that one's from, like, they're supposed to have all these powers to help control the balance of the world with these, like, weird forest creatures, and they don't. And they're the queens, so they have to try and deal with it. So I honestly, I don't know that many people have read the series. I know a couple people have read the first book, and that's kind of it. So hopefully I can finally deal with these two unread and then reread these two. And then I think for, like, backup, like, books, if I find time, in addition to that stack of books that I forgot that I put around, I also have Criers War by Nina Varela. I was so unsure if I was going to buy this book. I didn't end up pre-ordering it, and then I actually had it at my bookstore, and I saw it in person, and I was like, oh my god. And all of this brass stuff is all, like, texture lifted, and I was just like, there's no way I'm leaving without that book from the store. So, I'm actually hearing really good things. It's lesbian fantasy. Or no, I shouldn't say that. I'm hearing very good things. I've heard female romance fantasy. I shouldn't assume lesbian. Hopefully I love it. Hopefully I love it. And I'm hearing really positive things. The cover is just so damn pretty. This book could suck, and I'm keeping this. Like, all of the, like, the little, like, the waves around, and then the people at the bottom, and this, like, heart with rose thing. I'm just really loving this cover. And along that same wavelength, The Light at the Bottom of the World by London Shaw. I am so excited that I have my copy. I have such high hopes for this book, and it is British Afghani Muslim-owned voices, which is very specific owned voices. But I'm so excited about this, like, and if I can get to these two this month, I will be very, very happy with myself. So those are the books that I plan on trying to read in the month of November. Let me know in the comments section down below if you've read any of these, what your thoughts were. What do you plan on reading in the month of November? I think this is going to be my last, like, kind of read what I want sort of month. And then December, I'm going to be like, oh my god, I haven't finished this of my yearly goals or yearly reading challenge or whatever. And, oh, that's another thing too. I have one thing left to do, one prompt left to do on my TBR and Beyond yearly reading challenge. Is to read a book from school. So if I have the time, which I think I can honestly find time to do, I'm going to read one of my Shakespeare plays, because I had to read Shakespeare every year, like multiple years. I love Shakespeare. I hated it as a high schooler though. So I've read Taming of the Shrew, I think, last year. I kind of want to read... Or was it? No, I read Much Ado About Nothing, and then maybe I'm gonna try and read The Taming of the Shrew if I can fit it in sometime this year, in this month, and then we'll be done that challenge. So yeah, I will link all of these books in the description box down below, and I will also link all of my social media. If you follow me, I will follow you